Thank you for joining us for Done on Linux, where we will discuss and show the many things that you can do on Linux today. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to talk about games. No, I'm not talking about the heavily coded powerhouse games that require 4K monitors, tons of CPU and GPU power to run. We're talking about games so light on system resources that you can play them for hours on low-end computers. Like my little blue plastic Dell Inspiron laptop. It's got a little 11-inch screen, it's got an Intel Atom processor, 2 gigs of RAM, no hard drive, just a 32 gigabyte eMMC chip on it. But I did have to add a 128 gig micro SD card in order to store more information on it. Also, it has no fan because it's that low powered and that slow. Very quiet, but it gets the job done. It's a great little laptop for hauling around if I want to just read, if I want to browse the web, even watch YouTube videos, it does that fine. Well, it does that fine because I'm not using Ubuntu. What? So this laptop originally came with Windows 10 on it, which I can honestly say it was a crime for Dell to ship a laptop this underpowered with Windows 10 on it. I wiped it off, of course, and put Linux on it. However, I couldn't use Ubuntu because it was too heavy. The XFCE environment was actually too much for this little laptop. So instead, I put this distribution on it, LXLE. This uses the LXDE desktop environment, which is even lighter weight than XFCE. And it was perfect for this little laptop because I just needed it for browsing the internet, even watching YouTube videos, it does fine with those, and playing some casual games as well as some casual DOS games. So what we want to talk about then is how to get DOS games done on Linux. How can we do that? Well, there is a handy dandy little tool called DOSBox. With DOSBox installed on your Linux machine, you can install and run many different DOS games. So how do we get DOSBox installed? So in Ubuntu, in the standard installation, you have a software store. Unfortunately, it's changed in the fact that now it's the snap store. I am not a fan of snaps, and that is a topic for an entirely different show, so we're not even going to discuss that at this point. What I'm going to do, though, is use a tool that I like to use called Synaptic Package Manager. But it's not installed here, so we're going to have to go ahead and install that, which is super easy to do. We'll just go to our terminal, launch our terminal here, and sudo apt install synaptic. Put in our password, and away we go. So this tool will allow us to install a lot of different software packages right into Linux. I actually prefer this over the stores because it's got some other utilities that help fix things when things go awry on the system as well. So that's really helpful. Okay, now that that's done, we'll go ahead and we'll come up here and we'll type in Synaptic, and there it is, Package Manager, and it immediately wants our password. Give it the password, and we're in. It's going to update. This comes up just the first time, explaining that the software system, blah, 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 is organized by packages, etc. We can close that. Okay. So I'm going to search for DOSBox. Do a search, and there it is. We just want the first one is fine. Right click, mark for installation. It tells us it's going to install these additional pieces of software that are needed for DOSBox. We'll say OK. And then we just click on the apply button and apply one more time, and it'll download and install DOSBox on our Ubuntu system. Okay, and there we go. Now it's got a little green, it's filled in green because DOSBox is now installed. If I come up onto my menu here and I go under games, I'll see a new option called DOSBox. Clicking that will open DOSBox, and it just drops me to this prompt here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to have a place to put our DOS games on our system. So I would recommend you put them in your home folder. What I do is I usually just create a folder called DOS games. And there we go, that's where I'm going to put my DOS games. Now back over on DOSBox, what we need to do is we need to tell it how to read the DOS games that are in this folder on our system. And we do that by mapping a drive. It's called, we're going to be mapping to drive C. So we have a C drive just like you would have on the DOS computers of old. And that's really easy to do. You just type mount C for C drive, another space, and then we're going to use the shortcut for our home directory, which is the little tilde symbol, / DOS games, which is the name of that folder I just created. And then it says drive C is mounted as local directory home dan DOS games, which is right here, home dan DOS games. That's where I want it to be. Now if I type in C : and enter, I got a C drive now. I do a directory command, dir that's a DOS directory command. It'll show me what's in that folder, which right now is currently nothing. There's a site called DOSGamesArchive.com. This is a great site where you can come and download, search for and download any DOS game they have here, and they have a ton. I am going to do a search for a game that I enjoy playing called Commander Keen. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and download this game. We're going to pick the first option here. It says it's already configured and ready for DOSBox. And we'll click on that. Click here to start the download. Go ahead and just save that. And then once that's done downloading, we can go ahead and open it. And we'll go ahead and extract that to our DOS games folder. And there they are. There's the game that we need in our DOS games folder. Now we'll go ahead and start DOSBox. And so this thing here, we don't want to have to keep every single time typing in the mount thing. So what we're going to do is fix that up here by going to our file manager. We're going to go to the home directory, show our hidden files, and there's this .dosbox file. We go into that folder. There's a folder on a file, and then we find the file that we need to modify. Scroll down towards the bottom of this file, and right here is where we're going to put the mount command. So it'll run each time. It goes right underneath this auto exec section here. So mount C, and we want it to mount to our DOS games directory. And then we can also just go the extra step of saying, and after you're done doing that, switch to C. Okay. Then we'll save this. And now when we open DOSBox, it'll do that for us so that we don't have to mount that drive every single time. There we are, we're on C. So I can just type dir, and look, there's our Commander Keen game. And keen4.bat is what it said we need to type to start this game. And there we go, the game's starting. Go ahead and do a new game. And we got sound, of course. Gotcha. And there you have it, first level. So this is how you can install DOS games on your Linux system. I recommend you take a look at this site, DOS Games Archive. You can search and find a lot of different games that are a lot of fun to play and don't require a lot of horsepower. You don't need a heavy-duty machine to do this. After all, these games are pretty old, but they're still a lot of fun to play. Thanks for joining us.